Hello. I've had an idea. And regarding this idea, I think there would be various ways of going about it. But to make a start, I just thought I would just make a short video while I'm making some coffee here and tell you about my idea. Because I've noticed that, unlike where I live now, which is very unusual, both in my life and kind of globally speaking, most places on Earth, you have people making legislation to control what other people are allowed to do with their knives. So where I live, there are no legal restrictions on blades, except there are places that are federally mandated you can't take a knife, right? So I think prisons, courthouses, hospitals, schools, possibly. But I see that as like a private property thing. Like if I have my private property here and I say you can't bring a knife onto my property, that right would then presumably be upheld, or could be, right? And that would be fair enough, right? You want to use a knife, go somewhere else. But in public, right, on the street, I can carry whatever I like, however I like. Yeah, I can have a sword on my hip and go into the supermarket. And living like this now is a very interesting, having seen the other in various ways. I lived in the UK, I lived in Spain, I lived in Thailand for a while. Or, everywhere is a little different. But it turns out most places, the blade is, in my opinion, an oppressed article, right? Can an article be oppressed? But anyway, the people are being oppressed via the article, right? Which is the oldest tool, a cutting edge, or one of the oldest. It's probably the oldest tool, the first tool that we fabricated, because one thing is to be able to pick up a stick and use it as a tool. But once you actually pick up a rock and then start modifying it so that it cuts better, well, now you're making the original tool, right? And I believe that everybody in the world, at least who knows how to carry and use a knife responsibly, should be entitled to do so, whatever knife or blade they like. And then leave it up to people's common sense. And go hard after the criminals. If you pull a knife on someone, you're going to prison, right? You're going to jail straight from that encounter, unless you escape, right? You pull a knife on someone, you're going to jail, and from there, you're going to court, and from there, you're going to prison for some years, depending on the severity of you, depending on the case by case basis, but we could expect, at least 3 years. A misled teenager pulls a knife on someone, and if they're a hardened criminal, if they have a past case, you pull a knife on someone, 10 years. And I don't mean prison like cushy prison, by the way, either. I mean like chain gang, yeah? So there are different approaches, but I'm not trying to be active for that, but I'm trying to be active for, well, I've been trying to think about how to put words to it, and I was thinking it'd be good to have an acronym. And I like coming up with acronyms. For example, my name as a knife maker is Skolder, right? So I was thinking Skolder Knife and Tool, right? SKAT. Sounds great, right? Perfect. So it just popped into my head today. Pack Mule. Pack Mule is the acronym, right? Well, how do I work that out? Pack Mule, PACKMULE. Okay, Planetary Alliance concerning knife maintenance, use, and legal exercise. How about that? Something like that. Yeah. Planetary Alliance concerning knife maintenance, use, and the legal exercise thereof. So this starts now. Could crash and burn any minute, but right now, that's what I'm saying. Now we have a thing. It's called Pack Mule, and it's a planetary alliance. Anyone who wants to join, okay? Now you remember. All you have to do is identify. I am Pack Mule, right? That means I stand for anyone who knows how to responsibly maintain and use a knife to be able to legally exercise their right to do that. As a general rule, yes, okay, we can have exceptions. I don't want you coming into my establishment with a blade. That's fine. You have your rules, right? But when it comes to being out on the street, being out in the woods, being in the desert, being in the beach, being lost at sea, wherever you are, you might need a knife. So join me. And if not, don't let me hear you complaining about the laws in your land and how you suffer. Because what are you going to do? Lie back and just take it forever? You know? Now you're going to have a license to own a knife. You're going to only be able to own a knife that doesn't have any kind of point on it. Plain edges are out. Only serrated edges that are, but not like teeth. You know, like gently undulating. You know, whatever ridiculous rules. There are people in the industry who'll back that because there are already so many knives out there. Well, it's great for industry, isn't it? If we can make 99% of them illegal, and we get to all start again. I'm not kidding. You wait and see unless everybody pulls their finger out. Join me, Pack Mule. Thank you for watching.